job you don't like, to buy stuff you don't need, to attract people you don't like, right? To bring you fulfillment that is empty, that doesn't even exist, right?
Perfectly said.
This is all tying up into bringing you lower to driving you to despair because you're going to do all these things. You're going to go out in the world, you're going to do all these things, and you're going to be like, this isn't working. I don't feel good. I have everything I'm supposed to have. I have the wife, I have the car, I have the house, I have the job, I have the money, but I don't feel good. Why is it? Oh, it must just be because I have depression. It must just be because my chemicals are
Right.
unbalanced. So I got to go to a therapist now, and that's extra money too to the therapist. Now I got to take this pill, and that's going to solve my problems. Oh, but the pill didn't actually solve my problems. Now, to zoom out a little bit, make it a little broader, where do you think these fake jobs come from? Why do we live in a world with fake jobs? What's going on with that? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, no, and I think it's that is the question, right? So where do the jobs come from, right? It's something where, in my opinion, if you, I'm a bottom down person. Like I like to start from the bottom and go up for as far as conceptualizing ideas. And I know for you, it's you're more of a top down and kind of figure out here's the general idea and then kind of work my way down to the details. So for me, I'm always thinking, okay, where does it all start? Where it all starts to me is where does money come from, right? So if you go from that angle, just as a side, like ask 10 people that question on the street, and only one of them might give you a coherent answer of where it actually comes from. And we're not going to discuss like that in this video. It's way out of scope for this, and it's way too complicated. But basically, yeah, where does money come from, and then how does it go from there? So the money comes from a place, and then it gets put into the economy, and it starts circulating. Okay, so if there's money in the economy that circulates, it of course sort of devalues the money that you already have. So let's say you work a job as a blue collar guy, and you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to save up. I want to save up a couple $1,000s and buy myself like, you know, I want to buy myself like a nice studio setup with like speakers and a TV. Like that's my big goal is this year I'm going to save up a couple $1,000 and buy a big screen TV and some speakers. Okay, so if you're just saving for 1 year, you're probably not going to see what I'm talking about. Whereas like, at the end of the year, that $1,000 that you saved is worth is roughly worth $1,000, right? But if you're saying something like where, hey, I'm going to put a couple thousand away for my kid to use for college 20 years from now. Now you're talking about a situation where I am talking to you and where I am saying money that's put into circulation every year through deficit spending, through government packages, whatever, what have you. That $20,000 that you said, hey, I'm putting this aside right now. This is how much it costs to go to school, like for 4 years. I'm gonna put that aside for my kid to go there because I want him to go there. That $20,000 in 20 years is not going to be worth enough to pay for your kid's school. Like it's just not going to be doing that because the money in the circulation is devaluing your money that you have. So prescriptions for that will come in a different episode because that's kind of a financial advice situation. But implementing the reason that's important for context on why this is happening. So where do the fixed jobs come from? The fake jobs come from this. How do people spend money? Like how are people going to buy our fake products? Okay, we have to create jobs so that people can get paid to buy fake products, right? So that's how it all, in my mind, that's where it all kind of comes down from is the bottom up. And it's something like almost like an inflation of both lifestyle and currency. And lifestyle inflation is something I'm going to ask you about. How do you avoid that and stuff? But that segues back into kind of part one of the show. So that's my bottom up explanation of it. What about you from a top down like level? What would you say?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So I'll approach, yeah, from the big picture perspective, the way I see it is this, right? I think most aspects of our society are broken. I mean, it's kind of the key aspect. The whole reason we started this podcast and then our website and everything is that most of what we do is like upside down and backwards, and I mean like totally wrong, right? We've done episodes about dating, we've done episodes about like fitness advice, nutrition. We've done episodes about now we're talking about jobs and careers, and there's a theme here, right? Everything is broken. It's all topsy turvy, right? And now, in my view, I'll just get it out there. This is the work of the devil, right? Satan is involved here because he wants to drive us. He wants to make us weak, right? When you're weak, that's when Satan is has access to you, right? Um, Now, God also has access to you in those instances, which is why you need to turn to Him and not the devil. But what does the devil look like in this situation, right? He wants to break your will and drive you into despair. And now despair is a lot closer than you think it is, right? Despair is something deeper than depression. First of all, I don't even when I say depression, I'm not talking about this clinical my brain is, off balance or whatever the words they use these days. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I had a bad day and I have a very low mood, right? That's what I mean by depression, okay? I'm not talking about the clinical definition. Now, despair is a level even below that. Despair is a level of nothing I do is ever good enough. I'm never going to fix this problem. This thing keeps cropping up in my life, and I just don't know what to do. Or if I do know what to do, I'm just not doing it, and I don't know why. I can't do it. That's despair. Despair is a loss of hope, okay, which is exactly where the devil wants you. So, why does this relate to the fake jobs? Because, as Tony was just saying, he gave the bottom up explanation. We have this system that's set up to inflate you with bullshit, right? If you've ever seen Fight Club, really breaks this down, right? Tyler Durden breaks this down really good, right? You have you have a job you don't like to buy stuff you don't need to attract people you don't like, right? To bring you fulfillment that is empty, that doesn't even exist, right?
Perfectly said.
This is all tying up into bringing you lower to driving you to despair because you're going to do all these things. You're going to go out in the world. You're going to do all these things and you're going to be like, this isn't working. I don't feel good. I have everything I'm supposed to have. I have the wife, I have the car, I have the house, I have the job, I have the money, but I don't feel good. Why is it? Oh, it must just be because I have depression. It must just be because my chemicals are
Right.
unbalanced. So I got to go to a therapist now, and that's extra money too to the therapist. Now I got to take this pill, and that's going to solve my problems. Oh, but the pill didn't actually solve my problems. I guess I'll just uh, do that thing,
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
you call it quits,
Unalive.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, I mean, I broke this down for you and I didn't even use. You see, that's the way my mind works. I'm not even using any specifics. I'm just saying like it's all broken, but it's broken on purpose. And now, just I'll get a little in depth here on my like the theological, but I'm not going to go that far into it.
Right.
So don't, not you, Tony, but don't nobody get scared of this. Okay, I just want to say that. Um, the reason I see it this way is I think that the way evil tends to work on this world is primarily through urges that are given to individuals. Okay, it's not like I don't believe that there is a person or even a group of people who's like directly in communication with the devil and he's giving them instructions as they sit around some scary looking oak table, in the dark. I don't believe that. That's not how this works. The way it works is that every single one of us is subject to these little urges. And I may have the urge to go out and or not go anywhere, but get on my phone and order DoorDash. The low key, that's an evil urge, and you have to understand what I'm saying, right? It's not evil in the sense of like I'm gonna go murder somebody. It's not evil like that. But what are you really doing? You're hiring somebody to be a private taxi for your burrito, right? Which is completely wasteful. It's absolutely wasteful and lazy on your part. There is no reason for you to do that. Even if you got in the car and went and bought the burrito. Even that could be argued to be a little wasteful because you could have just made that burrito yourself. But that's see how it's like a tier lower, right?
Right.
But hopefully you can understand it illustrates the way our society is moving. We started off where everybody had to just cook their own meals. Oh, actually even go further than that. We started off where you had to go hunt. You had to go hunt an animal or grow crops and then
Right.
eat that, right? And then you had to cook it, right? And then now we moved on to this place where we have something called a restaurant where you go and somebody will cook for you and you pay them and they cook for you. And that's slightly more wasteful than going and hunting on your own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now we have this situation where you have a private taxi just for your burrito, which is even more wasteful than what came before. And I promise you there will be something more wasteful that comes again in the future. And you see how we're getting further and further and further from the ultimate not wasteful thing, which is to go do something yourself. And I
Right.
guarantee you that our ancestors didn't feel despair. They felt like, I'm hungry. I need to go deal with this problem. That's
Well,
what they
definitely,
felt,
they didn't
right?
have Prozac in the Roman era, so it's like there's a reason for
Exactly.
that, right? They didn't need it.
Yeah.
They had their own
They
problems,
didn't
but they
need
didn't
it.
have the fake job problem that we have today.
Right. Because again, it's not yeah, exactly. They had problems. And that's the thing. They had serious problems. not fake ones. They had serious ones.
Yeah.
I need to eat. I need to eat, and there's nobody that's going to DoorDash me a Chipotle burrito. So I need to go hunt a freaking cantaloupe or something.
Right.
Or not cantaloupe.
But as
I
society
need to go hunt an
advances,
animal, right?
you get this bloat of where, okay, now these fake problems will come up, and you can even use the like, because you were bringing up examples of, okay, how do I go to the next level of ridiculousness? Yeah, you didn't even go as far as to say, oh, well, actually, that's a good point. There's hunting and gathering was a thing back then. But
Yeah,
if you even
yeah,
compare the Romans to the cavemen, if they could speak English, would laugh at them because they had their
right.
own versions of fake problems, in the form of
Yeah,
which
oh,
jewelry is the
you
best.
have running water. You have aqueducts.
Yeah,
Wow, you guys are soft.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we're not saying technology is bad. We're saying understand that it comes with problems and it comes with bloatware in the form of real life of like having fake problems. And I think it's
right.
funny when you mentioned that you laid out that imagery of the oak table, and the devil saying, in a secret way, you're all sitting here right now, and I'm going to give you some evil instructions on how to ruin the world. And you said you don't think that's real. But me as an atheist, does think that's real in the form of Jekyll Island. That's the first thing I thought of was how did the
Yeah,
Federal Reserve become put in place? And it actually kind of was that oak table in that dark room on that island off the coast of Georgia. Like it did happen. You know what I mean? So as it details up, I'm thinking
yeah.
that's
What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out this clip from the Maneuver Life podcast. If you enjoyed it, consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment, even if it's just because you want to tell us how dumb you think we are, but especially if you want to tell us how much you agree with what we were saying. We have weekly uploads every single Monday, long form conversations just like this one. So consider checking it out one way or the other. Thank you so much for your attention. You have a good rest of your day.